Tonight, we're breaking down the really high stakes conflict between the US and Iran. When you think about global conflict, you might picture these vast battlefields. But this entire escalating battle, it's all centered on just 21 miles of water. And that little stretch of water, that's the Strait of Hormuz. It's been called one of the world's most vital shipping channels for a reason, and the fight to control it is sending shockwaves across the entire globe. And believe it or not, the effects of what's happening thousands of miles away, well, they're being felt every single time you pull up to a gas station. Okay, let's really get into this. All right, first up, the flashpoint itself, the Strait of Hormuz. The main goal for the US is pretty straightforward: keep this waterway safe and secure the world's oil supply. So what exactly is this strait? Well, it's this incredibly narrow waterway that connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. A huge chunk of the world's oil passes right through it. And President Trump, he's been very blunt about it. He said he will not let Iran hold the world hostage by messing with the oil tankers here. And yeah, that's not just talk. The US has been taking direct military action. They've carried out strikes on more than a dozen Iranian vessels. They've specifically targeted ships that could lay those really dangerous explosive mines. And the message is clear: if Iran attacks ships, the US will hit back even harder. In fact, the defense secretary has vowed what he called the most intense day of strikes yet if things escalate. Okay, so that's the naval situation. But what about the offensive inside Iran? Let's take a look at the massive wave of attacks going on there. Get this, we're talking about over 5,000 targets struck inside Iran. I mean, just think about that number for a second. This isn't just a few strikes here and there. The Pentagon says this is a systematic effort to take out their military infrastructure. We're talking hidden missile launchers, tunnels, even overpasses, anything to disrupt their ability to fight back. So, has it been working? Well, according to the administration, yes. They're reporting some pretty dramatic results: a 90% drop in overall attacks and an 80% decrease in those nasty one-way attack drones. So the claim is these strikes are seriously degrading Iran's offensive capabilities. But all of this massive military campaign, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Is the end game here just about securing a shipping lane, or is there something bigger going on? That leads us to the big question. Is the real goal here regime change in Iran? Well, when an official was asked about this directly, their response was pretty revealing. Listen to this quote. "Look, as President Trump has blatantly and frankly stated, it's obviously within the best interests to no longer have a radical terrorist in charge of Iran. So you see, it's not a direct yes, but it's pretty clear." This comes after other statements suggesting the president should have a say in picking a new Iranian leader that the West can work with. So the lines on what this is really about, they're getting a little blurry. So while the military is reporting all this progress, the conflict is creating some serious ripple effects. And we have to start with the cost that's being felt at home and abroad, beginning with the human toll. The Pentagon has confirmed that 7 U.S. service members have been killed. On top of that, another 140 have been wounded, and for 8 of them, those injuries are severe. And then there's the cost that hits every single one of us in the wallet. Since this conflict began, the average price for a gallon of gas has shot up by 55 cents. That's a direct result of the instability. And for some people, that's just devastating. Think about it. If you're a rideshare driver and you see prices hitting almost $6 a gallon, one driver just said, "It makes me sick." And you can totally understand why. And it's not just folks driving in the city. This hits our food supply, too. A farmer in Virginia said it now costs him $469 just to fill up one of his tractors with diesel. $469 for one tank. So the problem goes way beyond just the price of fuel. The whole conflict is messing up supply chains. That same farmer can't even get the fertilizer shipments he needs to plant his crops. So you've got higher costs to run the farm, and you can't even get the supplies you need. It's a double whammy. Okay, so we're seeing the mission is ahead of schedule, but the costs are clearly piling up. So that begs the question, how exactly is victory being defined here? While the official line from the administration is that everything is going great, they're saying they are very far ahead of their initial 4 to 5 week schedule. So from their perspective, things are moving faster than planned. But then you get this quote from President Trump that kind of sums up the whole confusing situation. He says, "We have already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough." It's this idea that they're winning, but the job isn't done. It's a real paradox. And that really leaves us with the final big question. The mission is officially ahead of schedule, but the human and economic costs are mounting every day. So, what does winning here ultimately look like? What's the real end goal?